Don't you hate it when you're busy growing some crops? Maybe you planted some potatoes and you're going through watering them, and as you're waiting for them to grow, you just die of old age? Well, this is one of the many things you can look forward to with the brand new character, Wanda. I normally start these videos by going over the animated short a bit and talking about the lore, but since we don't have that just yet, we're going to skip straight to the juicy gameplay today. If it does happen to be a particularly spicy backstory, I might make a video discussing it later on. But man, Wanda is a very cool character to play as. We've had some characters with interesting concepts in the past, but I don't think any even come close to Wanda. And I'm not going to string you along anymore, let's dive in. Wanda starts off with 175 hunger and 200 sanity, which is slightly above average for both, but the real difference is the health, which does not exist. Wanda has no health, instead she has age, starting at 38 years old and dying at 80. She ages 1 year every 40 seconds, or 12 years every in-game day, meaning after 3.5 days without any kind of intervention, Wanda will be dead. And that is where the Ageless watch comes into play. This is an item that Wanda brings into the game with her along with a few timepieces. Using the Ageless watch will reverse Wanda's age by 7 years. And even though the watch has a 2-minute cooldown, you'll easily be able to outrun time as long as you remember to use it. You can't go back indefinitely though. There is a cap at 20 years of age, meaning that there is a total of 60 years or 5 days worth of time. Besides the natural passage of time, you can also age by taking damage. 10 damage on any other character is the same as losing 4 years as Wanda. So in essence, you take damage just as any other character would, but instead of losing health, you gain years. You can also make multiple Ageless watches using the new Clocksmithy crafting tab, making you able to go back more than just 7 years if you want to. None of these watches stack in your inventory though, so it would be a challenge to go back in time a significant amount on the fly. Also in this crafting tab is the Backstep watch, which takes you back in time to where your character was a few paces ago. This is indicated by the little circle on the floor that looks like it's following you as you move, because it more or less is. Besides just hopping back through time, which is always fun, the best use case for this watch seems to be through the invincibility it gives you while using it. Clicking on the watch basically kites creatures for you. And with a cooldown of only 2 seconds and enough practice, you can take care of pretty much any boss like this. I'm not sure if this will be patched out of the game though. I remember there was something similar to this with Wartox's soul hopping that got fixed. So I'll let you know in the comments if this or anything in this video gets updated, of course. The Backtrack watch is a little bit like the Backstep watch, except instead of going back a few paces, you can choose the place you want to return to, and every time you use the watch, you will go there. It's almost like having your own personal wormhole wherever you like. You can make one at your base, you can make one on the moon, you can make one at the pseudoscience machine and travel between the caves and the surface if you like. You just need a different watch for every anchor point, and there is a 1-day cooldown, so you can't just hop back and forth again and again. Although, you absolutely could, you just need more watches. And if you ever want to change the location of your anchor point, you can use the Clockmaker's tools to deconstruct any of the watches for absolutely no cost and get back 100% of the materials. Yeah. And if you thought that wasn't cool enough, you haven't seen the Rift watch. This is basically a beefed up Backtrack watch that you can prototype at a prestidigitator that allows you to bring other players through your rift in space as well. Using this watch will open a rift for 10 seconds to take as many people as you like through your preset anchor point. Again, this can be to any point on the map or in the caves that you can travel in an instant. There is a 1-day cooldown on this watch as well, and after using it, it will turn into the Backtrack watch. But it does keep the original anchor point for you, so you don't have to make a new one each time. Even if you then turn that Backtrack watch into a new Rift watch. Sounds pretty good so far, right? Well, we haven't even got to the alarming clock yet. Using a shadow manipulator, you can make this weapon which functions like a whip. It's not quite a ranged attack, but it's definitely better than a melee weapon, which already gives you an advantage. It has 100 uses, but you can recharge it 25% per nightmare fuel. But here's the real kicker. The older Wanda gets, the more damage this thing does. Not to mention this applies to every shadow related weapon as well, including dark swords. For reference, a young Wanda will do roughly 82 damage per hit with this clock. Between the ages of 36 and 65, that goes up to 98, and above 65, that's sitting at 142 damage per hit. That is more than double what a dark sword can do in the hands of Wilson. I would not be surprised at all if this gets adjusted somewhat. It is worth pointing out that at that age, you are at most 45 health away from death. So it is high risk, high reward in the ultimate sense. The alarming clock also doesn't break at 0, it just becomes a much crappier weapon. And while Wanda may become more powerful with shadow weapons in her old age, she becomes decidedly weaker with everything else. So you're probably going to want to stick with the clock as your main weapon. Wanda also becomes slower at crafting, and the distance you can jump back with the Backstep watch decreases with age as well. If you do happen to succumb to the passage of time, you can always revive yourself with a second chance watch. This works much like a life-giving amulet, except that it has a 2-minute cooldown instead of breaking, and since the game gives you 2 minutes exactly to revive yourself before losing a world, if you have one of these, you've essentially won the game. You can also use it to revive other players if you feel like it, and reviving will not cost you any max health. You could very well use this in place of the Ageless watch, since there's basically no penalty for dying. Again, this may be tweaked a bit in the future. As always, a new character comes with a few new skins, and this time we have a formal outfit, the Triumphant set, which is my personal favourite, and the Tinkersmith set, but all of them look quite nice. We also have a new starter pack with a handful of existing skins for various characters, as well as a rustic torch, a monkey sack, and another Yawny Jammies ensemble, but in orange. If you don't have money to spend like me, you can also get Wanda by weaving her for 2700 spools. There's also going to be a new Twitch drop when Wanda is released this Friday or Thursday, depending on what space in time you live, and that is this lovely steering wheel as part of the Nautical collection. So yeah, that's Wanda, potentially the final character in DST, at least the last one we'll be seeing for a while. Incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. I don't know what else to say. I think it's going to be hard to play as other characters after spending just a little bit of time as Wanda. But what do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any questions, more than happy to answer them as well. I tried to include as much information as I could, but there are no doubt some bits that I would have missed. Special thanks to Klei for giving me early access to Wanda, and even more special thanks to you guys for watching this video. Take care.